Welcome to another In Wheel Time podcast, a 30-minute mini version of the In Wheel Time car show that airs live every Saturday morning, 8 to 11 a.m. Central. It's the In Wheel Time car show, your weekly go-to all things automotive place. Howdy, along with Mike out of this world, Mars, King Conrad DeLong. We need more Jeff Zekin.
Yep.
I'm Don Armstrong. Glad you could join us. I don't want to mess around here and wait any longer because on the line with us right now, from the Dallas area, Mr. Yes, he smiles.
Yep, there
it's
is.
the EVangelist, Richard Buzz Smith. Buzz, how are you, brother?
All right.
I'm doing great. I'm charged up.
Oh, yes, well, and we are so glad for that.
I can't recall the last time you were this charged up. Oh,
there is that.
Am I sensing a Chevrolet joke there?
you caught that, huh?
Yeah. Well, Buzz, how in the heck have you been? Are you still buzzing it up with your electric car? And how are things in the electric car world? Because everything that I read, every manufacturer in the entire globe and beyond is sinking billions of dollars into electric vehicles.
Yeah, and I'm pretty much the person responsible for that.
Yeah.
You've been driving that for a couple of years. And we're glad to promote you on our show.
And they're really tired of hearing from me, so they just all caved at once.
Oh, yeah. Good job.
So give us the latest. I know that, as I mentioned, I think that everybody and his mother is now, even companies that I've never even heard of before, startups that have never rolled a vehicle out of a factory yet, are investing billions of dollars into electrics, trucks, electric vehicles, you name it. It's all going electric.
Yeah, this kind of reminds me of the internet back in the 1990s. Everybody's jumping on board. The investors are jumping on board. There's probably a little bit too much enthusiasm. Some people are throwing money at companies that may never come to market with a product. But, the world's kind of divided into two groups. You've got the existing OEMs that have a century of car building experience. I think they're kind of struggling with how do we get from our very profitable gasoline vehicles into this new world without sacrificing all of our old vehicle sales. And then you've got these new startup companies, and they're like software companies out of California, like you said, no experience building a car at all. But, these days electric vehicles are starting to be unveiled at the Consumer Electronics Show out in Vegas rather than a traditional Detroit or Chicago auto show. So the world's changing. We'll see how it all turns out in the long run. My big concern is our dealers going to survive this. The salespeople are actively trying to avoid selling electric vehicles, and kind of some interesting news there from your neighborhood. The Houston Auto Dealer Association and Evolve Houston have joined together to put on dealership sales training and management training, and they've asked me to author the course and deliver it. So I should be out in your neck of the woods within the next couple of weeks.
All right.
We'll start going through our first dry runs of it.
Well, do you expect there to be an EV bubble? When you talked about how the growth of the electric vehicles is like the internet was and the tech industry was back in the 90s. Well, there was a bit of a bubble that happened there, a little overgrowth, and then the bubble kind of popped and everything contracted. Do you anticipate something like that happening in the electric vehicle market, considering how many newbies there are out there?
Absolutely. Anytime you get Wall Street involved, there's going to be, it's basically legalized gambling. And so a lot of people that have some extra capital laying around are reading all the news, and they're jumping on board without really understanding what the value proposition is of each of the vehicles. And some people are going to lose a lot of money. Some people are going to make a lot of money. Yeah. And I think just like with the internet, there'll be all new industries that we've never even thought of before that come into being. Who thought Amazon could go from being a bookseller to selling groceries even and delivering them to your home? So I think there's a lot of stuff that's going to happen that we can't even predict, but there's a lot of stuff that's pretty predictable. And as I've said on your show before, the big news is all the pickup trucks. I mean, they go into production this month is the first one to go into production. Tesla did announce a minor delay in the Cybertruck.
It's not minor; it's an entire year.
Well, yeah, but in the Elon Musk world, that's minor. Normally, he's 2 to 3 years behind the original promise. So we're still, in good Elon territory.
And Ford has talked about doubling the production of the Lightning because they're seeing such high demand for it.
Oh, they've actually announced that they have doubled production. Yeah. They went from a capacity of 40,000 to 80,000 trucks a year. And I don't know if I told you guys this after the Houston Auto Show, but we actually, at the Houston Auto Show EV area, we showed the Ford unveil on the screens live as it was happening. And the next morning, this guy was just standing next to me, and I was dressed pretty outrageously, so he knew I was somehow.
You dressed outrageously? No.
But, he knew I was somehow associated with the electric vehicle display, and he walked up to me and right off the bat said, I've always been against electric vehicles, but after the Ford announcement last night, he goes, my next vehicle will be a Ford pickup truck that's electric.
See, you are to electric vehicles what Liberace was to grand pianos.
I've got to come up with something like a candelabra that has to do with cars. If you guys can send me some ideas on that.
You have some batteries hanging from it.
How about a burning battery?
Yeah.
Oh, there it is. Now, on that note, let's go ahead and clear the air.
Let's do it.
Please do.
One thing that I'm really excited about and proud of, since I'm a former GM salesperson, they're going to replace every battery pack and every Bolt EV or Bolt EUV ever made and start the warranty over at 8 years, 100,000 miles when they put that new battery in the car. This is customer service the way it should be.
Yep.
This is a new industry. We are going to hit snags, with the first gasoline engines back in the early 1900s. I'm sure some of those had some problems. But what I love to see is the manufacturer, and you need deep pockets for this. This is where the experienced OEMs will have the advantage. They had the ability to do something like this. Hyundai, by the way, has already done it with some Kona problems they had earlier. They replaced every battery. So as long as the EV manufacturers follow through on that backing up the customer, making sure they're taken care of, these are transient problems. They're going to go away. I mean, how long have we had lithium-ion batteries in our cell phones and everything? We carry in our pockets that don't burst into flames.
Well, and I've always said is, endlessly, there's always going to be an issue when you build anything in this mass quantity. The quality of an organization is how they deal with it and how they serve their customer in resolving that issue.
Yeah, and I'm really proud of what GM did.
GM's going to step up and do it right.
All right. Can I go ahead and jump in here?
Sure.
I'm ready. Bring it, baby.
Range anxiety. And I know that since the last time that we talked, there have been many announcements here of late, companies that I've never heard of, startup companies, this sort of thing, that are working feverishly day and night to get charging stations all across the United States. Mm-hmm. And, it's going to be what we would call a slow roll. It's going to be much slower rolling out the charging stations than it is with the cars once they get microchips up and running again. So with that in mind, I have a story to tell you that was told to me. And just a few weeks ago, a friend of mine was at a stop, if you will, between San Antonio and Houston, and all of these people were lined up to get a fast charge at a place along I-10. And the wait was probably 4 hours. After I did the calculation, at 30 minutes worth of charge time on an electric vehicle, just using that, it would be 4 hours from the person that's
8 cars is 4 hours.
At the end of the line, it would take, 4 hours for that person to get to the charge station and then add another 30 minutes. And I wonder if the people that were waiting in line actually knew when they bought the vehicle that they would be faced with something like this.
You can't be that stupid.
Well,
I mean, like, seriously, you have to understand that the car has a range, and that range is dependent on your driving style, and you have to get power along the way when you're making long distances, which is where you have to plan your trip.
Well, I think that the issue is that they had planned the trip and they had planned this stop. What they hadn't planned for was the other 8 cars that were in front of them at the charging station.
Who planned that stop?
And why wouldn't they have multiple charging stations?
They had multiple charging stations, and it was more than 8 vehicles. But, there were 4 being charged at the same time.
Okay.
And obviously not at the exact same time. So one would get 30 minutes worth of charge. They would move on. The next car would pull up. You understand how that works. As opposed to going to the gas station and filling up for maybe 5 or 10 minutes and you're on your way. And I'm not trying to put it down. I mean, it is what it is, but this is one of the issues that this person dealt with. You're shaking your head. Why?
Well, it's just what you said just then. It's kind of funny because you do have this range anxiety fixation that you keep going back to. But,
yes, he does.
Well, and even you yourself had to plan charging stops along the way on your test trip that you did between Dallas and Austin and San Antonio and Houston and back to Dallas. So who does that? You have to learn how to do these sorts of things as opposed to, hey, we're going to go on a trip. We're going to do this circle around Texas for a few days and take the kids with us. Well, I've got a gas station on every corner pretty much. I don't have to worry about that. Now I have to plan my stops. And when I get there, something that I didn't think of, when I get there, are there going to be other vehicles at the charging station getting a charge? I mean, am I off base on any of this? Correct me if I'm wrong.
No, you're not wrong. One of the things you can check on some of the apps is what the customer comments are. So if you are heading to a station that usually is very crowded, you can usually see customer comments say, hey, by the way, this one gets booked, so watch out. But then again, there are also 12 base stations that I've had friends go to that there wasn't a single EV there. So yeah, we're early in the deployment, and people, most of them probably aren't alive anymore, but when gasoline cars first came out, you actually purchased gasoline at a chemist, which is a pharmacy. So that seems kind of weird to us today, but they didn't have gas stations back then, and that's where you bought gasoline.
Right.
So there's a supply side to this and a demand side to this.
And they have to find balance.
Yeah, it is a fine balance in the near term. I think this is about to be changed. Texas has $209 million from the Volkswagen Dieselgate settlement that has to be used for EV education and infrastructure rollout. And there are groups like Texetra, of which I'm a board member, that's working with the state government on the rollout plan. This has become, just like vaccinations, a very politicized thing. And we saw in the infrastructure bill, they gutted the charging infrastructure side of it. One party did over another one. And I think that as demand for these cars, once people drive one of these and really want one, they're going to push their politicians to say, hey, quit getting in the way of this. Now, I think that the big mistake that we've made, and maybe not a mistake, but we're installing DC fast chargers in the major cities because they said, well, that's where all the EVs are. Well, if you're at your hometown and you have a house, you're just going to charge at home on a 110 volt outlet or 220.
Absolutely,
you don't care about DC fast charging.
Yep.
We do need them for people that don't have garages like apartment or townhome dwellers. But the big thing that's being missed, and this is on the supply side, is there is a huge opportunity right now for the smaller towns and cities along the interstates to install DC fast charging. And I'm not talking about, a single station. I'm talking about banks of 8 or 12 at a time, and to place these among groups of restaurants, have them all within walking distance. It's a time when hotels should be putting in relatively inexpensive level 2 chargers, because if you're going to stay there overnight, who cares if it takes 8 hours to charge? It's going to be happening while you're asleep anyway.
Yep.
So what we discovered on a trip that we took to Enchanted Rock, and by we, I mean my wife and myself, was that, one, we got over range anxiety. Even as sparse as chargers are out by Enchanted Rock, Texas, there was still one within 40 miles of us, and we went into town to have dinner one night and charged in Kerrville, Texas. But the cool thing was when we went there for lunch during the day, they were smart. They put the DC fast charger right around some restaurants, but in the parking lot of the Kerrville Visitor Center. Now, all I knew about Kerrville growing up was there's apparently
Bus
a
company.
bus company there
Yep.
because all the band trips, and yes, I was a band guy. All the band trips, it was the Kerrville Bus Company that took us there.
And peaches.
So, once I got there, I found out there's an award-winning barbecue restaurant there. There is a phenomenal park that has kayaking on the river that runs through the middle of it. There's really nice paved bike trails.
And the
James
Nimitz
Avery
Museum.
Craftsman headquarters are there, and you can tour their museum and store while you're charging. So a lot of things to occupy your time while the car is being charged instead of just sitting there.
Yeah, I mean, that's what we were talking yesterday a little bit. And, it's and we talked about it on the show. It's kind of like you change or you adjust your lifestyle. You still have to plan your trip. You have to say, okay, I can only go this far before I got to get gas. So now you're looking at it as to where I got to do the charging and where people have to adapt, like Buzz and I were talking about. When I was going to drive over here, I was worried about I couldn't get enough charge to drive back home in the last EV I had. Well, there is a charger that's not too far from here, and I could have took 30 minutes and gone down there and charged it and gone back home and got to where I needed to go, but I didn't realize it. I didn't look for it like I would for gas. So, it is a lifestyle change to make those adjustments, and as the infrastructure gets better, it won't be such a drastic change.
Buzz, has there been any kind of people looking into the fact that maybe perhaps that the EV buyer today is going to be the guy that keeps his gasoline car and just add to his fleet, so to speak, at least for the next few years until the infrastructure catches up to the car?
I think that's true if the person does regular long distance driving. If not, there's no reason to do that. Any 250-mile range EV is more than sufficient for the average consumer in the United States who only drives about 40 miles a day maximum. Right. So today, you can go 100% electric unless it's part of your regular habit to drive hundreds of miles in a single day.
Right.
Then, you pull up to 4 stations and there's a line of cars. That's going to be very frustrating, but that will get solved over time. Now, there is one other thing, and that is the concept of an EV training wheels. And that's what I call plug-in electric hybrid vehicles.
Yes, absolutely. And I go for that.
When you're at home, it's 100% electric. When you go on a long road trip, just treat it like a gas car. Right. You got the best of both worlds.
Yeah, I agree
that
totally.
Would be a good transition
setup. Buzz, with you being on the board of a number of EV organizations here in Houston or in Texas, have you talked to Buc-ee's? When you think about Buc-ee's, it's a destination place to go refuel your vehicle. I mean, sitting there for a half hour at Buc-ee's while your car charges on 440 would not be out of the ordinary as you go in to use the restroom.
Be really expensive.
I would plan on spending at least 30 minutes
It'd be
inside
$100 stop
inside the store, whether or not I was going to get a charge or not.
Well, one of the things that you mentioned with putting restaurants by these charging stations, and Don mentioned traveling with the family, you got to have something for the kids too. You got to have like a little amusement park or some playground area.
Buc-ee's would go into
Buc-ee's.
And think about these small towns. If they have a gas station on the interstate and say the center of town is 1 or 2 miles away from the interstate, they never see any business from that. The car pulls in, 5 minutes later it's full and it takes off down the highway. And drivers have gotten used to, and I was one of these too, that I would drive straight from Houston to Estes Park, Colorado. It's about 19 to 21 hours of driving before I had an electric vehicle. And all I cared about was the destination. And Mike and I, when we had our conversation, we both had the same realization, is that part of the enjoyment of road trips is actually enjoying the journey, not just the destination. Okay. And when I went to Kerrville, I found all these cool things to do. I discovered a really cool small town in Texas that without a doubt, when I'm in that area, I will visit Kerrville again. And I think that's the opportunity that these small towns have. So yeah, it can't just be just restaurants. If you're going to stop for a couple of hours, why not have it near movie theaters as well? public parks so the kids can get out and burn off some of that energy where they've been strapped into car seats all day. Let them get on the playgrounds and have some fun. If there's a lake or a river, let them put on their bathing suits, have some fun, get back in the car. The kids nap for a while and it's quiet and mom and dad can enjoy the drive from there.
Well, yeah. I mean, I'm coming over to your side slowly.
He's on a slow charge. He's got the slow charge going.
Yeah, exactly. But I have to tell you that one of the things that I have learned and what little experience that I have with EVs here, the 110 volt outlet, you might as well throw that thing away. That is.
I disagree completely. Oh, I disagree completely.
You did.
And this is the reason. If you're driving 40 miles a day, the average American commutes less than that. The 110 charger will top that car off while you sleep at night.
As long as you've got a full charge.
Yeah, as long as you started from a full charge. And every day, even if you lost a little bit of range every day, let's say you drove 60 miles a day and you only recouped 30 miles of that, that's still going to last you a full week. And so the visit to the DC fast charger is like a visit to a gas station. Now, it's a longer stop, so you're going to want to have a restaurant nearby, a movie theater nearby, something like that.
Or the grocery store.
Yeah. But the cool thing is that 110 charger allows apartment complexes, which a lot have, the carports that have the lighting. So they've got 110 electricity there anyway. Instead of having to install a more expensive level 2 charger just because it's faster, why not put a bunch of 110 outlets and let the people use the 110 charger that comes for free with their car and top it off every night?
Well, I have to tell you that one of the things that I did find just by mistake, I went to First Colony Mall here not that long ago and found, as I was going to a restaurant nearby, I found that they have a charging station right outside of Macy's, and guess what? It's a fast charger, and it's free, my friend.
Wow.
Yeah, and when's the last time you went to a gas station and go, oh, yeah, go ahead, fill up for free. We don't care.
Well, yeah, and that's genius on Macy's part because they want you to spend time inside of there.
Or at least in the mall.
Buzz, and let me ask you a question. Do you see, as the market improves with different manufacturers, do you see the price coming down on EVs? One of our followers on Facebook posted a link. CJ Spencer posted a link to the Wuling Honggang EV that's selling for about $4,000 in China. So do you
actually here in the United States? There's and it's based in the Dallas-Fort Worth suburb of Garland.
They sure are. They came out of California.
Is Kandi, Kandi.
Yep.
That one lists, I think, for 14 to 17,000, but its speed is limited to about 60, 65 miles an hour. So, the prices are coming down. Just yesterday, I saw a really cool vehicle. It looked like it was something off of the Fast and Furious movies, had a giant spoiler on the back, but very, low ground track or ground effects on it. Super cool looking. And they're saying this is going to come out in the $25,000 range.
Okay.
Now, I don't know if that is before or after the federal income tax credit and all, but if it's before federal income tax credit, you're talking about $18,000. And just like all consumer goods, as economies of scale happen, to answer your question, absolutely the prices are going to come down. As more and more battery factories get built, the price is going to come down because the cost of manufacture is going to come down.
I can hear it now. Honey, I'm going to the store. Did you plug in the car?
Why not?
What's really cool is my car reminds me. If by 9 p.m. I haven't plugged it in, it sends a text message to my smartphone and says, hey, I'm supposed to be plugged in. And so that way I can't possibly forget, and I've had it remind me when it was.
Unless, of course, you've had too many margaritas that night or something.
There is no such thing as too many margaritas.
Let's kind of take this to the next level when you look at batteries in phones. Now you have the phone charger that you don't plug into. It just radiates into the phone. They're doing some of those inside vehicles. Do you see that being an option on a vehicle where your parking spot
is the pad?
It's the pad to charge your vehicle. Is that technology that they could bring at that level of power requirement?
It already exists. You can do that today. Put it on the floor of your garage, and just when you pull in the garage, the car will start charging. Now, all inductive chargers have some energy loss getting to the car. It's not going to be as efficient as plugging it in. And so I'm resisting that at my house. I don't mind plugging it in because I'm paying for that electricity. I don't want some of that being lost in midair on the way to my car.
Right.
Buzz, we could continue this for days on end. We love talking to you, and we certainly appreciate your time on this Saturday. And be sure and get in touch with us when you're making your visit down here to Houston, will you?
Yeah, we'll have to try some of those bottomless margaritas.
You got it, brother. Yeah.
No, you don't want to see Don bottomless, believe me.
Oh, yes, I do. Margarita-wise. That's the only way, Don. Just margarita-wise.
Buzz, we love you. Thank you, man.
Thank you, sir. Have a good one, guys.
You do the same. Buzz Smith, the EVangelist.
Always a wealth of information.
Some of the stories making headlines this week. Volume last month slid 2% at Toyota and 16% at Honda, with key nameplates posting notable sales declines. The chip shortage dealt another ugly blow to Ford, with sales off 33%. I flew over a Ford dealership up on the North Freeway here just this past week. I looked down there. There are no cars.
No.
There's no cars. The August SAAR, the SAR, the seasonally adjusted adjustment for the
retail
sales, a 2021 low of 13.09 million cars. The severe microchip shortage and other supply chain constraints that have plagued automakers for months have now ensnarled Toyota, Honda, Hyundai, and Kia, while dealing another ugly blow to Ford. Overall, U.S. light vehicle sales tumbled 17% last month. Morgan Stanley analyst Adam Jonas said Thursday sales were expected to fall 4 to 18% in August alone, based on estimates from Cox Automotive, TrueCar, J.D. Power, and LMC Automotive.
Wow.
Good luck on finding a car, and if you do, you're going to pay out the nose for one.
Whoa, boy.
Just saying. Ram topped the industry in the J.D. Power initial quality study for the first time. Did you hear me?
Yeah, first time.
Ram.
Yeah.
While Stellantis stablemate Dodge landed in the number 2 spot after last year, becoming the first domestic brand to lead the ranking.
Good for them.
Another Stellantis brand, Jeep, jumped into the 8th spot to give the automaker 3 brands in the top 10 in the 2021
they must
ranking.
Have chips.
Congratulations.
Auto dealerships in southeastern Louisiana in recovery mode still after Hurricane Ida lashed the region a week ago. Heavy rains and winds up to 150 miles an hour. Dealerships not only in Louisiana but also up in the Northeast, really, they're trying to assess the damage now. It's going to be extensive, putting a bigger dent in automotive sales.
And if you think we're short of vehicles now, as these manufacturers see these natural disasters happen, they divert production to those areas to replenish inventory at the expense of other parts around the country. So right now, vehicles may be tight. They're about to get a lot tighter as they dump vehicles into the Northeast.
And the ones that are flooded, where are they going to go? Back on the market somewhere?
Hopefully. And finally, new data shows a sustained increase in U.S. traffic deaths that regulators ascribe to impaired driving, speeding, a failure to wear seatbelts, and other unsafe behavior since the start of the pandemic. National Highway Traffic Safety Administration on Thursday estimated 8,730 people died in car crashes in the first 3 months of 2021, compared to 7,900 deaths during the same period last year. That's a year-on-year increase of 10.5%, despite a 2.1% drop in the number of miles driven. So drive safe out there. In 2020, deaths involving motorists not wearing seatbelts up 15%. Yeah. Speeding-related deaths jumped 10%, and fatal crashes involving alcohol rose 9%.
Put your seatbelt on. Oh, my gosh. That shouldn't even be a question.
Quick break now. We're right back right here on the In Wheel Time Car Show. Houstonian-owned Bayway Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram has the most sought-after models in the Houston area today. When you're in the market for a new or used vehicle, you now have a place to go. General Manager Lincoln Stahl guarantees Bayway will beat any competitor's written price on the new vehicle you choose or pay you $1,000. Bayway Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram is easy to get to on Highway 225 near Beltway 8 in Pasadena. Whether it's online or in person, you're welcome like one of the family. Bayway Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram.com. Tailpipes and Tacos, Houston's premier monthly car cruise-in, returns Saturday, September 18th at 2 Loopy Tortilla Mexican restaurants in Katy and inside the Loop on the Southwest Freeway near Kirby. Tailpipes and Tacos is free and everyone's invited. You will see collector cars, hot rods, customs, magnificent originals, and resto mods at 2 locations. Cars from all over Southeast Texas cruise in and show off in a friends and family event at the Loopy Tortilla Mexican restaurant on the Grand Parkway at Kingsland Boulevard, just south of I-10 in Katy, and inside the Loop on the Southwest Freeway near Kirby. Drag racer, car enthusiast, and Loopy founder Stan Holt brings you Houston's hottest cruise-in, Tailpipes and Tacos, inside the Loop on the Southwest Freeway in Kirby, and in Katy on the Grand Parkway just south of I-10, where you'll see the In-Wheel Time Car Show. Get your ride ready, and we'll see you at the Tailpipes and Tacos Saturday morning cruise-in, September 18th, 8 to 11 a.m., weather permitting. Gulf Coast Auto Shield has moved to a more convenient location. Now you can visit John Gray and his staff of dedicated professionals at their new shop on the South Sam Houston Parkway between Belford and Airport in Southwest Houston. Gulf Coast Auto Shield is the best at paint correction and ceramic coatings. Clear bras and custom wraps are specialties that only Gulf Coast Auto Shield installs with award-winning accuracy, and all their services come with a warranty. Lamborghini, Aston Martin, Porsche, and Ferrari owners depend on Gulf Coast Auto Shield for their specialty services, and you should too. The In-Wheel Time Corvette and Cutlass have both been massaged by Gulf Coast Auto Shield, so isn't it time your vehicle visit their new shop in Southwest Houston? Call John Gray today at 832-930-5655 or visit online at gcautoshield.com. That's gcautoshield.com. Paint, coatings, wraps, and more at gcautoshield.com. That's it for this podcast episode of the In-Wheel Time Car Show. I'm Don Armstrong, inviting you to join us for our live show every Saturday morning, 8 to 11 a.m. Central on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and our InWheelTime.com website. Podcasts are available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, iHeart Podcast, Podcast Addict, TuneIn, Pandora, and Amazon Music. Keep listening, and we'll see you soon.